Simon, let's start with this Nampak story. The stock rallying hard into the close, closing at 23 Rand 20, up 3.25% today. And of course, that news out that they are selling their cartons and healthcare business for some £80 million. Market likes news of this transaction.
Evening, Bronwyn. There are two spin-offs here for Nampak. One is they get, £80 million. I call that £1 billion. In fact, in this currency, it's about 900 million rand. And that they're putting off to debt. So their debt ratio is coming down from the mid-30s to about 20%. I don't think mid-30s is bad. 20 is very good, market like that. But further to that, it gets them out of exposure to a market that is growing sluggishly at best. And that's the EU, which is not shaking the lights out. And whilst people might not be talking recession, no one is talking exciting growth there in the next 3-5 years or so. So it sort of kind of brings them back to their roots, and the market just likes it.
Well, nobody talking about exciting growth in the Eurozone except for Steinhoff, making that bid for Conforama, the second biggest furniture retailer in France. And of course, we have seen this stock continuing to rally. We're up at the top of the top 40 again today. That's after an enormous rally last week, gaining 3 1/3% at the close.
It's just, I mean, it's stocked and done incredibly well. And as you said, on this deal alone, you know, it rallied and everyone thought that was it, and it just hasn't stopped. The synergies are really good. I mean, they're already selling in. Now they're going to buy the actual retailer themselves. So that gives them some more upside there. Just their whole strategy has really been working for them, which is broadly make the product in Eastern Europe where it's cheaper to make, sell it in Western Europe where you get a higher price for the product. And they've done it with boring stuff like beds and the like, which are, you would look at and think, how the heck does anyone get rich doing that? But they've just really made the strategy work, and this is a big deal for them. I know when we commented last week on air, for them it's a chunky deal, and that's what companies of this size need to do. They can't go do little couple of 100 million. It needs to be multi-billion rand deals to really have an impact on the bottom line. This is big, and the market is saying it's positive and really pushing the stock.
Now look at this news unfolding around KWV. We've got Halewood throwing its hat in the ring. We've got Clover that's coming to the market tomorrow, also throwing its hat in the ring. This is a valuable asset. Everyone seems to be very interested in adding it to their stable.
Yeah, and as soon as that happens, if I were a shareholder, I'm going to say, hang on, if everyone wants this, shouldn't I want it? The premium isn't that massive. The Clover one is weird. I know they've got distribution and the like, and it's not officially on the table. The official one is obviously Pioneer. Pioneer via Structures has got holding there. I think it makes a lot more sense, and if there's going to be a deal, I think it's probably going to go down the Pioneer route, although that's a cash and equity, so they've got to get around that as well. But that's certainly the lead runner at the moment. I think it's going to get interesting. They're all coming in at 12 Rand, and one of them maybe comes in at 13, then we can start really seeing things hot up.
Freeworld Coatings, also interesting news on that front, and Kansai Paints, Japan's Kansai Paints, offering to buy the shares that it doesn't already own. Again, more foreign interest in our South African stocks.
Yeah, they own around about a quarter already. They've tried before and failed, and the premium that they're offering is very much more to the original premium, which takes us back to the first quarter of this year. The premium to the current share price isn't so terribly exciting, but we know Freeworld aren't keen, we know the board of directors aren't keen, and in fact they tried to go to the Competition Commission ahead of the offer from Kansai, simply because now they've got to do due diligence, and they're competitors in the market, and they're saying, hang on, you know, our competitor's going to come in and have a look at our business, and if they walk away, they've got our trade secrets and the like. I think we're still going to see it getting a little bit messy in that space. Certainly Kansai very, very keen, and certainly the Freeworld directors not so keen.
Simon, we are nearly at Christmas. We've got a couple of days left, really. What are your thoughts in terms of market activity from here? Are we going to see volumes dropping off dramatically?
We've got futures close out on Wednesday. Today was surprisingly good. I didn't catch the post-auction, but pre-auction we were sitting around 8 billion, which is not a bad number. It's kind of average-ish. It probably came out about 9 or 10. Futures close out on Wednesday. I think we'll see volume up to that. And then that closeout finishes at 20 to 2, and then our market volumes are going to die. Thursday's a holiday. Next week's a 4.5 day because Christmas Eve being Friday is a half day. Volumes are really going to taper off to potentially 2 or 3 billion rand on a total day. And what we often see in in that environment is a positive bias to the market, where it's kind of just drifting, but it tends to drift upwards, because if anyone's doing anything, really, if they were selling, they've sold, and anyone only really buying out there. Volume's very low, and then they'll come back a little bit that first week of Jan.
I'm not sure if you've seen the Palladium price of late. We're at $764 an ounce and rallying hard on that front. It has been, if I'm correct, the best performing commodity of the year.
It absolutely has. Everyone gets excited about gold, up some 22%. They get excited about silver, up some 75%. Palladium shot the lights out of both. And I think, interestingly, for a lot of investors out there, a very difficult asset to get direct exposure to. There are now exchange-traded notes available on the JSE, so you can get Palladium exposure into the market. And if you speak to folks who look at a broad basket of commodities, really their top metal for next year is Palladium. Their second metal is silver, and both of them on pure demand, particularly in the Palladium space. No one has a Palladium ring or an earring or anything like that. Palladium is pure industrial usage, and that demand is really coming through and pushing the price to multi-decade highs.
Simon, in terms of the Fed meeting tomorrow, do you think we're going to hear anything about quantitative easing 3, or are we a long way from that, with them still focusing on rolling out that $600 billion government bond purchase strategy?
I think the word quantitative easing 3, I suppose this will be QE3. We're certainly not going to hear it tomorrow night. I don't think we're going to hear it in the next couple of months either. What we are going to hear is Ben Bernanke saying what he's been pretty much saying all along, is we will do whatever it takes. And that pretty much says that unless QE2 is an absolute knockout success, and people are saying, you know, at best it's going to be a nice moderate success, unless it's a huge success, we're going to see QE3. I think it's probably almost a foregone conclusion to some or other degree. Probably is smaller than the QE2 number, but I don't think he's going to throw those words out. He's going to stick to his "we will do whatever it takes" story.
Simon, just very quickly, talking about that gold price and the fact that last week we saw that all-time high of $1,430 an ounce. Does that mean that we could push through those levels as we get to the end of the year?
I think short answer, yes. I mean, the trend in gold is up. It pulled back into the mid-1300s. It's rallying again. When I left my screen a short while ago, trading just below 1400 and a good move today. Certainly, the breakthrough 1400 and then 1450 seems to be very much on the cards. And people who'd been saying, you know, 1500 next year seem to be pushing their numbers slightly. Now they're talking 16 or 1700. I think if we don't see 1450 this month, certainly we're going to see it January, and 1500 seems to be on the cards, probably for first quarter of next year.
Simon, thank you so much for your time. Simon Brown, Standard Bank online share trading. Just perhaps before we go, Simon, your pick of the year.
For the year past?
For the year past. For the year past. You've missed Steinhoff, or did you buy Steinhoff?
No, I missed Steinhoff. I mean, the best stock I happened to be in was Capitec, and I'm not going to claim any expertise there. I got irritated with watching it rise and picked it up, and it's done spectacularly well. Retail has also done very well. And on the retail point, late last year, it wasn't the thing to obviously be buying, and the sector we're looking at now is construction. No one likes it. Everyone says it's doom. Everyone says it's gloom, and they're right. But I think in a year's time, we might be looking at construction and say, wow, wasn't that a great 2011?
Were you on the right side of Richemont?
No, I wasn't. Richemont was a stock that when the whole world came to an end, I thought that even the rich people would get poor. And it turns out that rich people might get poor, but it's all a relative point. So I got out of that. And it's done spectacularly well. And I mean, the market's done all right this year. We're sitting at about 14% year to date. Compared to last year, not great, but not a bad return nonetheless. But there's been some out-and-out performers, such as Richemont, such as Steinhoff, such as Capitec. Famous brands, there's stocks out there which have given 40, 50, 60, even 70% in the year. And it really was the theme for the year. It was about stock picking. 2009, pretty much everything moved. This year we had to pick.